Hi, my name is David Walleman. I was just playing with Bias Amp 2 on the iPad. I reviewed the first version of the software a few years back. It was really good. This version is even better. And they take the amp modeling thing to another level. Basically what Bias Amp 2 is an amp within an app. But the amp is deconstructed. So in other words, you get all the different components that you would have in a typical amp head, and you get access to all those things that would take you a lot of energy, a lot of money if you were to replace different components. It's an awesome way to learn about tone. It's a great way for engineers to design the tone with, all the different components that are available. There's a ton of stuff. We're going to go through all the different components. I'll show you how to use it. It's very easy, and not only is it awesome for the tweakers, the people who really like to get into tone and tweak everything, but it's also awesome for people who just want to plug and play and experiment with buttons. Just use your ears. That's kind of how I approach the thing. But anyways, we're going to take a look at Bias Amp 2. Let's get started. Here we are in Bias Amp 2. Super clean interface. It's very simple. Basically on the top you have the grid, hence positive grid. You can place different elements on the grid, remove elements as you want. And Bias Amp 2 is designed so that you basically create your own amp. So you have all the different components that you would find in a typical amp head. The very first element here is the main, the thing that you see on your amp head. So anything you'd expect, gain, bass, middle, treb, presence, master. That's typically what users would have access to on an amp head that you buy. And everything will be updated in real time. Just what you would expect. Positive grid went way further. Before we get into all the other elements here, I want to show you that you can customize the look of your amp head all the way to even to the Tolex that is wrapping the amp here, the grill. You can make it, pretty if you want. The knobs and so forth. Just a nice touch. It's not going to do anything to your tone, but it's just kind of a nice touch. Then we have the preamp, which is the first section of your amp. The preamp has a lot to do with the tone of your amp. That's what differentiates. There are other things, but that will really affect the tone that you're getting. So obviously for the non-tweakers, you have some different presets here. You can have a bright tube amp, British crunch, and so forth. We'll keep the British crunch right now, and then of course you can go deep into that preamp. So you can affect the preamp EQ if you'd like, add a low shelf, a mid. You can really go, as far as even changing the tubes here if you'd like to. A lot of different options. Right now we have 12 AX7 tubes. Let's change that to 12 AU7. The output is not as loud, but I kind of like that. Almost like the compressed sound of the 12 AU7. I kind of like that. And all the different options that you have. The bias can be affected too. Have a colder bias, which I don't really like. I kind of like the warmer. And the cool thing with this is that you can even configure things that are not recommended for a real amp because you break the amp. You can experiment with this. It's really cool. Then we have the tone stack, which is between the preamp and the power amp. The tone stack is going to affect, again, the color of the amp. This is kind of EQ world. You've got your presets here if you'd like, or you can just make your own EQ, which is going to affect the overall tone of your amp also. Let's go into the presets. We'll pick the British crunch. Very warm sounding tone here. Between the preamp and the tone stack, if you want, you can add a parametric EQ. You don't have to, but that's just an option to further customize your sound. It's all tactile, which is I don't know, it's so convenient, I think. And it feels really good too. It doesn't feel like a cold modeler that you might have with other devices. Really, technology has gone a long way in the last few years, and the line really between real and fake it's a very thin line. Then we go into the power amp, which is going to give you the power of the amp, obviously. Again, that's one thing that I really like. You can have a preset for each of the different elements. So if you're not sure what you're doing, or you don't really want to mess around with all that, you go with some of the presets. Here's the smooth dynamic. And so forth. I'm a little hot here. I'm going to go back into the preamp. I'm going to reduce the gain a little bit. And if you're hearing some noise, unnecessary noises, there's a built-in noise gate also. Right now it's active. Bypassed, active. And you can go into the noise gates to adjust the threshold and the ratio if you want. But it works really well. Moving on to the transformer. The transformer is this thing that not many people have the opportunity to change, but again, it does change mostly the feel of the amp. This is going to affect the way that the amp responds, the sag a little bit also. Right now we have the American style transformer, and switch to the British one. It's subtle. It's more of a feel thing. Almost in the realm of compression. It gives me the same type of feeling. This comes with a lot of different cab options. As you can see here, 1 speaker, 2 speakers, 4 speakers, a lot of different speaker options to select from. Positive Grid partnered with Celestion. It comes, you get the classic Celestion, which is classic speaker. I like the G12H anniversary. Now, I mentioned that, yes, they partnered with Celestion. The Modern Vintage is also an option. This is an upgrade version. So you won't get the Modern Vintage by default, but it is available for you in the Elite version. Honestly, I really like the G12H anniversary speaker. I like that one. And then you can add another EQ at the very end of your full chain if you want, just to further customize your tone. Forgot to mention in the cab section, you can of course adjust the different mics. You can add up to 2 mics. Right now we have an SM57. We'll add a second one. Maybe we'll do a C414. So now we have 2 mics. Of course, you can adjust the placement of these mics, just moving it wherever you want. Put this one on the cone and this one on. Come on, I want the second one right here. You can do an open back or a closed back. The closed back is a little darker. And nice touch, they added a reverb here, so it's not as dry. Dry can be great if you're recording to a computer or you want to use your own effects, but we do have the option for a reverb. And you can select amongst these different reverbs here. Now that's for the main grid. That's how you can create your own custom amp. Positive Grid comes with a lot of built-in amps. Cleans, Glassy, Blues, Crunch, and so forth. We'll go into the Blues amps and we'll pick a 63 British J45. This is what it looks like. We'll add a little bit of reverb here. Make sure that the level is not too high in the time. And maybe we'll use a Room Studio A reverb. Now we can, of course, adjust all that. Maybe we want to change the mic placement a little bit. Maybe the preamp, we want to switch from 12 AX7s to the 12 AT7s. Why not? And we want to save this. Super easy. Go right here. And we can either overwrite it or save as new, which we'll do here. And we'll save this as a Blues amp. Save. And now we'll find our 63 British built into the Blues category. Let's go through different presets here. Maybe we'll check out the crunches. Use a 69 Super Lead. What about the British Rock 50? Let's go into the Insane here. This is a positive Insane. I like that one. Ouch. You can download different things if you want. New presets, new amp matches, which we'll get into in a second. There are 100 new amp match presets available right now. So we'll click on that, and here they are, organized into categories. Let's check out the Blues amp matches. Here they are. It's quite a bit to choose from. And if you want to download one, just click on the one you want. You could preview that before you buy it. If you don't like that, that's fine. You don't have to get it. Maybe you like this one. Let's try that. Based on an orange 8030. I like that. Let's get it. And that's how easy it is to basically add new amps to your Bias Amp 2. And now that amp is going to be available right here. And the customs, it's right here. There are two others that I downloaded previously. Click the link below if you want more information on Bias Amp 2 by Positive Grid. I really enjoy the app. Check it out. I'll see you very soon on this channel. Practice well.